Welcome back to the DFS Sweatshop, where I am your host, the DFS Jerusalem, and you can follow me, of course, on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. Decent day for me today across all of my exploits, all of my usage in the DFS world, whether it's betting some parlays, which I've gotten into a lot more recently. Had pretty good success in my parlay. Well, today I had a really nice lineup in the $12 single entry buy-in that came in the early slate. The main slate, what round of DFS is up, big homie? Armando Gonzales. The main slate was not very good to me. I didn't have a lot invested for the simple fact that the family and I, we went to Bible study tonight. So I knew it started at 7, so I knew I wouldn't be able to make those little last second tweaks and turns in my lineups. So I just rolled out a few single entries. Ended up getting half of the buy-in back there, but I made something in the early, so that was good. Hit a 5-team parlay over on Bovada, so that was really good. So I had a decent profitable day. It was a 5-team parlay for $10 and won 190. What it was a bet online. Bet online. Rhino DFS is the one that put me down with that particular site. So it was good. And also, bro, we know we've got the Millie Maker coming up. The golf tournament starts at 7:45 a.m. So make sure you got your lineup set for those. If you have not been checking with us in the shop when it comes to our golf coverage and what we've been doing there, man, yo, it is awesome, bro. Awesome, yo. I know more about golf than I ever have in my life. The homie ACP, also Seth Rudnick with right along with D Pope 919. That's Dexter Pope if you know him in the sweatshop. Now ACP 1236 was a 100K pressure putt winner. So this is a guy that does have experience winning big in those larger tournaments. So those guys did a 2-part YouTube series on their channel. Very good stuff, awesome stuff. Built my lineup according to a lot of what those guys were explaining. So I feel really good. I've got one shot, one kill. A couple of weeks ago while we were in Miami, I won a $33 ticket to the Millie Maker, the golf tournament. And I'm very confident. You could be looking at a millionaire. I'm just saying. I mean, based on the research that I had done, most certainly coupled with a lot of what Dexter and Andrew were talking about, along with Seth Rudnick, you could be looking at a millionaire. I'm just saying. And if it ain't me, one could be coming out of the shop, man. These guys put down some very serious shit. Awesome game. And as you can see, my baby had my iPad because she liked a YouTube video, The Wheels on the Bus. Plus a lot more nursery rhymes. 54 minutes of this crap is what I have to listen to while we're riding in the car. So my baby liked that video. It's all good. It's on my Twitter. If you have a baby, tell them to check it out. Really solid stuff there. So let's go ahead, man, and jump real quick. Let's go ahead and jump into the slate that we have for tomorrow. I'm gonna pull it up here, and we've got. In the all day, we've got 10 games, okay? We've got a 10-game all-day slate. We've got a 3-game early. The first pitch goes out at 12:10. We've got a 2-game turbo at 1:10. And also the main slate, what's going to serve as the main slate is going to be a 7-game slate at 7:05. First pitch goes out, followed by an 8:40 night slate, and then a 2-game late night slate at 2 o'clock. Seth Rudnick, what's happening, big homie? Good to see you, fam. So, I got my Millie lineup all ready to go. Like I'm ready. Like I mean you might be looking at a millionaire, bro. I like this slate. This MLB slate. This is a slate that I really do like. I really like this slate, man. I really wish they had some better or higher buy-in tournaments in the all day. But the main looks good. So let's go ahead and jump right into it, man. We've got, like I said, 10 games. In the all day. The first pitch goes out at 12:10. We're going to have the LA Dodgers and the Cleveland Indians. We talked a lot about the Dodgers recently and how those guys are on an uptick, man. They've been hitting the ball a lot better lately. Actually got to Kluber today, which is something a lot of us didn't expect. Although, see, my issue with the night slate, what happened was I only was rocking with 3 pitchers. I had Kluber everywhere, and then I had half split with Liriano, the other half split with Mike Leake. So you can look at that and tell which lineups cashed. Unfortunately, I had Mike Leake in some of my better batter stacks, which is why I didn't go completely ham. But I was able to, recoup most of my buy-in back, and I did win some in the early. Plus the parlay hit, so I was pretty good. I was pretty good for the day. So let's go ahead and jump into this, man. We're at Progressive Field in Cleveland, Ohio. There is a 23% chance of moderate rain, so the first game on the slate may not even play. There's a possibility that this game does delay or rain out. We've got the Dodgers with a 5.7 run projection total, and then we have the Cleveland Indians at 4.7. It's a 10-run total altogether. We got Rich Hill and Josh Tomlin on the mound. Rich Hill was a very solid play the last time out, 20.25 DraftKings points, and he was a guy that we were all concerned about how far he would play in the game. And I really don't think, I think those concerns should be behind us. I think that we can play Rich Hill with confidence in good matchups, hence good matchups. Now, predominantly, we're going to see the Cleveland Indians struggle against left-handed pitching. That has not been the case fairly recently, as we can take a look at what they've been doing. They've been disciplined at the plate here. We've got the Indians ranked 26th in strikeout rate, or K rate, 18.4%, 169 ISO with a 292 WOBA. So this is a team that is attackable in a lot of spots, man. You've got, signature names from the squad that's just not producing and just haven't been producing lately. I mean, talking about guys like, Kipnis, who was out. Lindor has not been hitting the ball particularly well. You got Michael Brantley, who's been decent. Carlos Santana, who's been okay. Encarnacion has not been Encarnacion. So playing Rich Hill at 9.6, while I wouldn't be that prone to do it on the all day, I think in the early he does deserve major consideration here. You got Josh Tomlin, a guy who I will not play. I think the Dodgers are pretty hot right now, and they're going to be doing well against right-handed pitching. So I've got no interest in playing Tomlin in this spot. Look at the Dodgers. They are fourth in K rate, 25.9% here, 151 ISO with a 279 WOBA, and this is over the last 14 days. And we've just started to see the Dodgers really hit the ball and take advantage of bad pitching. So no Tomlin for me, but I think that I can get behind Rich Hill, and I think he should be in line for the win in that game. Next game we're going to talk about is the Seattle Mariners and the Minnesota Twins. This game has 13 miles per hour wind going out towards center field. There's a 0% chance of rain, 82 degrees here. The dew point is at 52. This is a pretty solid game. I like this. You've got pitching in this spot, and we've seen big offensive explosions from both of these teams throughout this entire series. I think today is a day where we're going to see a lot better pitching. You got Ariel Miranda, who's been fairly decent in his last couple of starts. 10, 39, 9, 15, 28, and 21 over his last 6 starts. So that's very, very decent, very good and consistent at 7.4K. I think you can definitely look to him here. You got Jose Barrios at 8.8, which I think is a very solid price for Barrios. I mean, over on FanDuel, I think he's priced up at 9.4, 9.5. So 22, 16, 7, 22, 40, and 24 in all of his starts here. And I really think this is going to be like a pitching duel. You kind of can pick your poison. I think if you're a guy, that tends to lean on the fact that you're going to see, a right-handed heavy top of the order for the Minnesota Twins, then you may want to shade away from Ariel Miranda and play some Jose Barrios. If that doesn't bother you at all, I think Ariel Miranda is definitely in play here. Both of these pitchers, in my opinion, deserve consideration, especially if you're going to be playing in that in the early slate. In the all day, not so much, but in the early, definitely. Next game we got, and this is gonna close out that early slate. The Baltimore Orioles and the Chicago White Sox. We've got 7 mile per hour wind in U.S. Cellular Field going out towards center field. It's going to be partly cloudy, a 0% chance of rain with 64% humidity and 79 degrees. Chris Tillman and Dave Holmberg. Now, Holmberg in his last start was not bad. 16.85 points, 5.25, 3.4. Now, I'm telling you, take a look at the best pitching performances guys have had this season. And a lot of them have come against the Baltimore Orioles. Now, has this team turned the corner with the return of Manny Machado? We saw them score about 10 runs yesterday. If that scares you, you may not want to play Holmberg, but I can guarantee you this: in that early slate, Holmberg at 4.6 is going to be the least owned pitcher on that early slate, and most assuredly the least owned pitcher on the all-day slate. So he is going to garner just a small amount of consideration for me. Looking at what the Orioles have been doing lately, they are 7th in the league in K rate over the last 14 days. That's 23.8% with a 196 ISO and a 323 WOBA. So that means, they can really hit the ball for extra bases if they do hit it, but they're ogres, bro. Either they're hitting jacks or they're striking out. And anytime you have that discrepancy, it does make for a solid punt play when you look at a pitcher like Dave Holmberg, priced down to 4.6, who I know is going to see very limited ownership, and he's not going to have to do much in order to make a return on that investment. Now, Chris Tillman, on the other hand, at 6.5, negative 19 in his last start against my New York Yankees, 7.5 against Boston, negative 7 against the Yankees. So this guy is not playable for me at all. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to be more in line to attack Chris Tillman, most certainly. 10.5 run total we got here. Give me some of those Chicago bats. That's how I'm going to be rocking in the early. The next game we got, and this is going to start the main slate, but it's also a part of that all day, is going to be the Boston Red Sox and the Philadelphia Phillies. We've got the Citizens Bank Park is going to be the site for this game. We got an 11-mile-per-hour wind going out toward left field. 0% chance of rain. 73 degrees here with a 53 dew point. You got Chris Sale priced at 14.1. And do I have to stand up for this? Do I have to do this? Because I did this a lot during basketball season with Westbrook. Do I have to mix? I ain't playing no damn Chris Sale. I ain't playing Nolan Ryan. I ain't playing Randy Johnson. I ain't playing Cy Young himself for no goddamn 14.1K. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. There's no way. There's no way. I'm not doing it. I'm not playing Chris Sale. And usually on a small slate is where you're going to get me to pay up. On a large slate, I rarely pay up for pitching on the larger slates. I'm talking about 14 games. 13, 4. If it was Archer, you would. You know about my love affair with the homie Chris Archer, Becky with the good hair. But there's no way. I'm not. Man, I ain't paying for Satchel Paige for 14.1K. I don't give a damn who. I'm not paying it. No, that's robbery. This dude got to score 50 DraftKings points, 75 FanDuel points in order to make that work. I ain't doing it. No. And I ain't even trying to build one lineup yet. I just saw the price and I said, hell no. Now, am I going to go straight crazy hand and play batters against them? Probably not. Maybe I might. But I can tell you for sure, Chris Sale ain't going to make it in their lineup I make today. Not at all. I can't pay that. I can't do it. Not at all. Nick Pivetta at 4.5 is definitely attackable here. We are seeing a resurgence of the Boston Red Sox bats. Let's go and take a look and see where they stack up. The Red Sox, one of the most disciplined teams in the league at the plate. You've got them 19.5% K rate, 148 ISO, which leaves a lot to be desired, as well as a 314 WOBA. But they just started a hot streak, and I think it's going to continue for just a moment. Looking at the Philadelphia Phillies, 11th in the league in K rate, 23.2% with a 141 ISO and 302 WOBA. So, of course, the Phillies are attackable, bro. And I love that. I love the fact that, the highest salary guy on the slate, pitcher-wise, is probably going to be the highest owned guy on a 7-game slate. So when he goes out and he gets you that 32 points, which is decent, when he gets you that 28 to 32 points, which is very decent, it's going to cripple you. It's going to cripple the rest of your bats. It's going to cripple you. It's going to cripple you. So I'm not playing him anywhere. I have no intention of playing him at all, but I do like some of the Boston bats, as well as maybe a one-off or two, just to spite everybody who plays Chris Sale tomorrow. I cannot do it. Let's take a look at what he's done. 22, 25, 16, 22, 27. So we talked about the last time this dude had a 30-point game was May 13th. It's been a while. It's been a while. There's no way I can do that, man. If you've ever scored less than 20 DraftKings points, there's no way I can pay 14.1 for you. No way. That's just ridiculous to me. It's a slap in the face. I just can't do it. Not at all. And no Nick Pivetta as well. But just for argument's sake, we're going to open him up and see that he's given us 2.45 11, 14, and 7 in his last 4 starts. Definitely not a guy I think is playable, be it on the all day or in the main. Yo, this is too much. That's just too much. That's ridiculous. Man, I ain't paying for Babe Ruth. If they let Babe Ruth homers count, I would pay that. If I could get the Babe Ruth homer and the Babe Ruth complete game shutout, I'll pay for that. But it could be the Negro Leagues. I ain't paying for it. I don't care. I ain't paying for it. That's just too much. That's too much. Next game we got the Tampa Bay Devil Rays and the Detroit Tigers. The Tigers, man, are one of the hottest hitting teams in the league right now, and you kind of can't tell because they just don't score a ton of runs. But when you talk about just getting on base, getting hits, man, this team over the last 14 days has been very good. So let's take a look at where they stack up as far as K rates. I think they're pretty disciplined at the plate here. You're going to see them 28th ranked, which is very good. 17.3% K rate, 229 ISO, killer, with a 390 WOBA. I think this team over the last 14 days has been leading the league in WOBA. Yes, 390, right, just above the Yankees. So, if I can catch them in a solid matchup against a pitcher that I think they can get to, I'm gonna pay for it. I'm gonna pay for those guys. Now, Alex Cobb has been very decent so far this season. Looking over his last couple of starts, 21, that -10 against Seattle left a lot to be desired. You got 15, 12, 22, 18, 15, 17. So he's been fairly decent without that huge loss he took to the Seattle Mariners. And I think he is attackable in this spot. So I will be playing some of the Detroit Tigers. I think I was just a day early on those cats. You got Justin Verlander at 7.6. Not a guy that I love. See, this is not a situation like I called out with Liriano. Liriano was priced down to 5.8. Justin Verlander is at 7.6, which is still like, hey, man, pay up for me. I'm pretty good price. But he just hasn't been living up to that. 5, 1, 19, 1, 20, 12, 19. No. That's just not doable for me. And for that fact, I think not only do I like some of the Detroit bats, but give me all the left-handed power I can get in terms of Tampa Bay Rays bats. Now, this is going to be a 9.5 run total. You've got the Rays as a slight underdog right now, projected at 4.9 runs. I think the ownership is not going to be a lot on them. And I'll tell you, on the main slate, the 7-game main slate, ownership matters here, bro. Ownership matters here. We're into a zone with just 7 games where ownership really takes a major role in your roster. Well, it should, for that matter. Next game we got is the Washington Nationals and the New York Mets. The Nationals have been sucking lately, and the Mets usually are not very good against left-handed pitching. Now, we know they're going to shift some of those right-handers to the top of the order as they had a very solid showing last night against the Chicago Cubs. But Gio Gonzales, man, has made a believer out of me, man. 27, 19, 17, 19 in his last 4 starts. That one against Texas, man, that was a dominating, overpowering performance, man. He really got on their ass. That was nice. He really made a believer out of me. And I think that he is definitely a guy that we can look to, even though the Mets are better hitting on the road. The Mets are better hitting on the road. Can you believe that? And they're not great against lefties. So I think I can take a shot at Gio Gonzales. I think a lot of folks are going to shift the coverage over to a lot of the Mets bats based on the way they came back. Granderson smacked the 3-run jack, his 300th of his career, to beat Chicago yesterday. So a lot of folks are still going to be reeling off of that. I'm all good there. And so far this year, I've been like the consummate Robert Gesselman apologist. I am not that anymore. And I think the left-handed power from Washington is where I'm going to make most of my money here. I like that most assuredly. The next game we got is the Milwaukee Brewers and the St. Louis Cardinals. We got Michael Wacha at 6.3 and Zach Davey at 7.3. So, Mike Leake yesterday got lit in the first couple of innings, man. He got lit. And, could that happen again? It could. But Michael Wacha, man, a guy at 6.3K, 13, 1.7, 3.9, 1.6. We saw some very solid performances from him in the beginning of the season. And the way it's shaken out is it looks like, the Milwaukee Brewers have kind of, retuned their batting just in time to run up against Michael Wacha, a right-hander that's more of a finesse pitcher, not a power guy. Those pitches with a lot of movement, and I think these guys do good hitting those off-speed balls, lefties here. So I'm going to have some investment in the Milwaukee bats, not so much into Michael Wacha here. Zach Davies, of course, is a candidate to be Shelley, but can we get that with the St. Louis bats? Let's take a look and see what they've been doing over the last 14 games. Now, I think they've been fairly disciplined at the plate so far over the last, 14th in the league in K rate, right around middle of the pack. 22.1% K rate here for the Cardinals. 148 ISO with a 308 WOBA. That is nothing that scares me. But Zach Davies is just so bad that he's not a guy that I can consider on the 7-game slate. 13, 27, 4.45, 6.1, 15. Not horrible. Not horrible in the starts. Not horrible. But just not a guy that I want to hang my hat on, man. I'm kind of getting into the mode of condensing my pitcher-player pool. Just coming up with 3, rolling 2 of them on DraftKings and one on FanDuel, but having a couple of different lineups where I have exposure to with one and then the other. Carl Mariano, what's up, big homie? Oh, we chopped it up. We chopped it up, baby. It's all good. So the next game we got is the San Francisco Giants and the Colorado Rockies. And I'm gonna tell you the beautiful thing for me about this slate. This is the beautiful thing for me about this slate, is because a lot of people that play MLB DFS have been so conditioned, by the pundits that there's 2 things that they automatically do. They pay up for pitching. So whenever Chris Sale, Max Scherzer, Clayton Kershaw, whenever those guys are on the slate, we can guarantee a few people are going to take all of their salary, put it on those guys, and set it to the side. We know that. But then whenever we have one of those high-dollar pitchers in the same realm where we have a Coarse slate and everybody just goes nuts, where automatically the pitching in Coarse is cheap as crap, and the bats are priced up. Everybody wants to flock to the Colorado Rockies bats. So we're going to see lineups with Coarse bats as well as Chris Sale. And when you have that, that's a recipe for disaster. So let them go ahead and do that. You can play pitchers at Coarse, bro. I don't care what anybody says. You can play pitching at Coarse. We've got 13% humidity here, 6 mile per hour wind. There's a 0% chance of rain in Colorado. 88 is going to be the temperature here, so it's going to be fairly warm. You got Matt Moore at 5.1 and Jeff Hoffman at 7.5. Give me some Jeff Hoffman, baby. Pour him on me, baby. 28, 33, 29, 21. Let's look at how the Giants stack up here. Very disciplined at the plate in terms of strikeouts. 18.5% K rate, 130 ISO with a 315 WOBA. That is attackable for me. I will have many lineups with Jeff Hoffman in them. I like him in this spot most assuredly. You look at Matt Moore at 5.1, 5, -1, 18, 9, 14. No, I don't want any of that. And that's going to be the way I'm going to go. I like Jeff Hoffman. And I do like a collection of the Colorado Rockies bats. Don't love any of the San Francisco guys, but you live that hedge life, man. You maybe can play a 1-off or 2, but we're going to get into that today later on in the line drive at 5. So love Jeff Hoffman, one of my favorite pitching prospects on the slate for 2 reasons. Number 1, he's good. Number 2, people hate to play pitchers in Coarse. They think it's a recipe for disaster as far as pitching, but that is just not the case. We know better than that in the sweatshop. Next game we got is the New York Yankees and the Oakland Athletics. Give me all the Jordan Montgomery I can stand. We're going to see here guys like Yonder Alonso struggles against lefties. Jed Lowry struggles against lefties. Chris Davis is decent. You got a few guys that can hit lefties, but I think this game is going to be a fairly low-scoring game. I really do. Sonny Gray at 7.7 is a fairly decent pitching prospect, but I just love Jordan Montgomery. I think he's a guy that does not give up the long ball. He's not going to overpower you with pitching and just dominate and score 40 points, but the dude is very solid, man. 28, 23, 12, 23 in his last 4 starts. I think he's putting it all together. He knows he's going to get run support behind him from a few of those Yankees bats, and that I definitely gives him confidence in his pitching. So I do like Jordan Montgomery. You're going to see a lot of Montgomery Hoffman lineups for me tomorrow. I love that. Now, we do have 12 mile per hour wind in Oakland. 0% chance of rain. 70 degrees is going to be the temperature here. The one thing I want you to understand, before you jump all over Montgomery with me, is the Oakland A's are a different team at home. Their home road splits are really something to look at. I mean, they're a much different team at home, and they also either strike out or smash jacks. We look at the Athletics here, fifth in the league in K rate, 25.8% K rate. Where do they rank in terms of ISO? They are 16th in the league, the bottom half of the league actually, with 184 ISO. And in regards to Team WOBA, where I believe they're down. Yep, 24th in the league in Team WOBA at 310. So while they are an attackable offense, they can catch fire and hit a few home runs. They do have a few guys that can do that. But I love the fact that they do struggle against left-handed pitching. So Jordan Montgomery is going to be towards the top of my list in terms of pitching prospects for today's slate. The next game we got, and the last game on the slate, is going to be the Kansas City Royals and the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. 6 mile per hour wind going up towards center field here. 0% chance of rain. 78 degrees is the temperature with a 53 dew point. 42% humidity. We got Matt Strahm and Ricky Nolasco. Let's go over and check on DraftKings just to make sure these are the correct guys. Yep, Matt Strahm and Ricky Nolasco. Don't have a ton of information here on Matt Strahm. Has not had a start yet this season. I believe he's a guy that was a call-up, but he's a lefty. Could definitely be a Shelley candidate. I'm going to jump all over him. Play as many of the right-handed bats I can from the Angels. And this 8.5 run total, I think this doesn't hold up. I think this game exceeds that. Both pitchers in this game are very attackable. Ricky Nolasco, man, not very good. 10, 15, 1, 10, 15, 10, 28. Not very good. Not very good. And he's going to be seeing a Kansas City order that has kind of caught fire recently. If we look at what they've been doing over the last 14 games, the Royals fairly disciplined at the plate in terms of strikeouts, I believe. We're here. 18th in the league in K rate, 21% there. 186 ISO, pretty decent with a 336 WOBA. So I think this qualifies for me as a game stack. And for those of you that are going to be spending up for Chris Sale, I think this game is where you're going to have to come to in order to find solid quality bats that you feel comfortable using. Okay, so let's go ahead and just quick recap over some of the pitching that we talked about, just to give you an overall look at who I like so far. Here we go. Rich Hill, Gio Gonzales, Jose Berrios, Jordan Montgomery, Jeff Hoffman, Ariel Miranda. The guy that I like the most, the two guys I like the most right now are going to be Jordan Montgomery and Jeff Hoffman. Those are my two favorite pitching prospects on the slate so far. So we will revisit this in the line drive at 5. That is going to take place, of course, at 5 o'clock. Meet me here. If you are not able to check it out, that means you're not a member of the sweatshop. Go to the website at www.dfssweatshop.com. That is where you receive all of the tips and tricks and tutelage that we have, as well as a very solid, the best community group of guys to help you chop up each slate and get it in with you, no matter what sport it is, man. We've got MMA, WNBA, golf, everything. These guys have a thread for everything, and it's really dope, very helpful. So come on in and join us in the sweatshop. We will be very glad to have you. Big shout out to the homie Rhino DFS. Also, again, man, I cannot thank you guys enough, man, for the way you rep the shop, man. The 100 Band Clan. Everybody, round of applause for the 100 Band Clan. I'm talking about Seth Rudnick, Dexter Pope, as well as Andrew Pierce. Thank you all. Thank you guys so much for all of your golf information, and we're going to take that and run with it, and hopefully you'll be looking at a millionaire. So, peace and love to you. Of course, this has been your DFS Jerusalem. Follow me on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. The number one thing I want you to do, if you're on FanDuel, keep it 250. If you're on DraftKings, keep it 200.